So hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to. So we are back with a brand new movie on what if Naruto kidnapped Tsunahime for personal. But before we start, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now let's begin the story. In history, there are many myths, folktales and legends of powerful beings. But there was one that surpassed them all, the great sky beast. Back in ancient time where shinobis and chakras still existed in this world, the sky beast was created. From the creation of a powerful jutsu that caused Kyuubi no Yoko and a newborn boy to morph into an entity. The sky beast was a powerful entity that could heal any wound and beauty like no other. His blood was the elixir of immortality. In his demon form he was the form of a giant white fox with 9 tails. A black lunar moon was formed on his forehead showing the sign that he was the sky beast. The universe was held in his claws, easy to be controlled and destroyed if he wished to. Realm of shadows. The sky blackens and the waves roar. Of all the lost souls, I call forth you, on the 13th of Death's name, under this bloody moon. Create into being and do as I command. I call forth thee, being of time. In the darkness of the night, a bloody full moon shined throughout the darkness. A figure stood out in the darkness. The moonlight reflecting over the figure revealing a humanoid figure hidden in a black high-collar cloak with red clouds as the design. A large blue scarf covered the head of the figure completely, only revealing 2 piercing electric blue eyes with slits as the pupil. Shadows that surrounded the figure started to waver slightly until a dark animalistic body rose from the pits of the shadows. It was pure black with a purple aura surrounding it. Ah, if it isn't you, Fox-kun, it's been quite a while. What do I owe the pleasure? The shadowy beast questioned, its dark raspy voice echoing into the darkness. I need to find a successor for my power. It appears my eternal slumber is nearing. Dark-clothed figure answered with a dark, menacing yet soft, soothing voice. The figure lashed out its arm and pointed towards the shadowy beast. Take me to the being most suitable for my title, Timekeeper. The demand was followed through as the dark purple aura started to lash out forward to the dark-clothed figure, engulfing the being. As you wish, but I must warn you. This one will be hard to train, and their power has yet to be unleashed, so it is unreadable if the life energy will exceed. The shadowy beast soon transformed, turning into a human form of a man with long flowing silver hair. His eyes were fully black with what looked to be stars floating in them. He was dressed in white robes with a staff where a sand clock was on top. He smiled amusingly when he saw the angered glare that was pointed to him from the electric blue eyes. But do not fret, this young child has a pure heart. Her life will be turned to the better once you enter her life. The silver-haired man reassured the cloaked figure. The said person nodded in gratitude and soon disappeared in a flash with the purple aura that had previously surrounded the being disappeared along with. But the man started as his body started to dissolve. There will be others out there that will want to steal that pure heart. I have seen her future. With your presence influencing her, it may revert into something else. But I, the keeper of time, am unsure of what the things will cause for the sky beast and his heir. His head was disappearing with the rest of his body. A small smile flashed over his features before he fully disappeared. Oh, what fun will it be to watch and see what happens in the end. His voice echoed throughout the darkness as his amused laughter rang throughout all ears. Human realm. Tsunahime Sawada was having another bad day again. Dame Suna, as others called. The girls were picking on her again because of being undeveloped and still looking like a grade school kid. The guys didn't pay no mind to it since they weren't interested in Dame Suna, who looked more fit to be a weak-looking boy. That was just slowly destroying the little self-confidence she had. If this continued on, she'll be Dame Suna for life. She needs to start to change differently for the better. I won't give up. As long as I believe in myself, things will change for the better, Suna said as she entered her room. That's the way to go. A voice spoke up, and that wasn't her voice or her cheerful mother's voice. She turned to her bed to see a lone figure covered in a black overcoat, if you can call it that, with the design of red clouds. The figure had a blue scarf wrapped around its head, only revealing piercing electric blue eyes. HHHI! Suna screamed as she backed away from the dark-clothed figure who was sitting on her bed. Nice set of lungs there, kid. The stranger said with amusement, snickers ringing out. Kind of reminds me of Sakura-chan. The stranger continued as he looked deep in thought while staring at Suna intently. But your personality matches more of Hinata-chan, but you aren't very strong either. The stranger appeared before Suna in a mere second. His gloved fingers lifting up her chin, causing brown eyes to stare transfixed at blue eyes. But you're pretty cute. I'm sure lucky to have a really cute successor like you. Did he say what Suna think he said? Cute? Someone, besides her mother and father, thought she was cute? Impossible? Wait. Who are you? What's your name? Suna stuttered slightly, trying to make her glare as intimidating as possible, which only failed, causing her to appear pouting. The cloaked figure merely chuckled and backed away to give some space to the girl. My name? The figure repeated, mockingly, looking thoughtful. You know that you're the first person to ever ask for my name. Well, anyway, in your era of language, my name is Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto, also known as the Sky Beast. He introduced himself as he quickly removed the scarf to reveal a beautiful face, flawless tan skin, golden locks, and a chiseled face with 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek. He looked like a god. Suna shook her head, getting out of her stupor, and stared at the man in shock. But the Sky Beast doesn't exist, it's just a legend. Suna quickly shut her mouth when she saw a ball of flames in his raised hand. This is only a basic one, holding a ball of flames. It can create one much larger, but I prefer wind elements. The man named Naruto said as the flames disappeared from his hands. Phew. Do you mind if I take off my cloak? It's starting to get stuffy in her. Naruto said as he removed his cloak to reveal what he was wearing underneath. Suna quickly examined what the blonde-haired man was wearing. He had a high-collared black zipped-up sleeveless shirt with it being orange on the inside. A fishnet shirt was seen underneath. He had loose cargo jeans tucked in a pair of leather combat boots. She blushed at the sight of Naruto's bare muscular arms. She noted the blonde's hairstyle. It was done in a small braid that ended just past his shoulder, with his long bangs framing his face where a black lunar crescent was revealed on his forehead. Such beauty, it was almost a sin. She could have possibly be dreaming. And what is your name, little missy? Naruto questioned once again, Suna bringing herself out of her stupor. Well, my name is Tsunahime Sawada. But call me Suna. Suna bowed politely to Naruto as they sat down at the small coffee table in her room. Well, Suna-chan, as I said before, I am the Sky Beast. You may believe me or not, but I am who I say I am. I'm just in my former human body right now. It will be of limited time to be in this body, but it's alright. Well, anyway, what I'm here for is that my eternal slumber is nearing. In precisely 10 years from now, or possibly less, give or take the years of how long I've lived. And I need a successor to carry on the title of the Sky Beast. I had the Keeper of Time to lead me to the only being to successfully take on my name. And here I am. You are to be the next Sky Beast, Suna, and you will in due time become more powerful and stronger than ever before. Naruto finished his little speech, noticing how Suna was in shock. It's alright to be so surprised about it. I was too when I received this power. Well, Suna-chan, I hope we get along fine. Naruto smiled foxily at the girl, causing her to blush. And all of a sudden a poof of white smoke engulfed the blonde. Suna softly coughed at the unsuspected smoke. Naruto-san. Where are you? Suna called out, but she only heard the coughs and wheezing of her own voice. As the smoke cleared up, Suna looked at the spot Naruto was sitting at before, but he didn't look like before, he looked like a baby. His clothing, excluding his cloak and scarf, had shrunk in size with him. He looked the same but just became chibi size like a baby. The only difference was a blue cloth tied around his forehead with a rectangular medal on it with the engraving of what looked like a twirling leaf shape. The chibi Naruto stared at his now small hands with an annoyed glare. Geez, it took root too soon. Naruto muttered and soon turned to look at the startled girl. Sorry about this, it's the side effects after being in my demon form for so long. I have to revert into this body. I can return to that other form, but only for short periods of time. But at least I'm travel size. Naruto exclaimed with a cheery face as he grabbed his now shrunk cloak and scarf and put it on, with the blue scarf comfortably around his neck with the high collar of the cloak hiding most of it except the front part. He turned to the clock that settled on a desk that was near Suna's bed, where it read 8:10. Time sure flies when you have a legendary entity in your room. It's already night, better get some sleep. We'll be starting your training tomorrow, Naruto said before he slept comfortably in the bed sheets. Wait, Naru-chan. What training? Suna practically screeched in Naruto's ear, but he didn't budge one bit. He was already full asleep. But he unconsciously thought why Suna called him Naru-chan. Perhaps it was because he was in this chibi form. Answer me, Naru-chan. I never even agreed of becoming your successor in the first place. Na-ru-c-c-c-h-h-h-a-n-n-n-n. Time realm. Neither of the two realized they were being watched from a high place. Hey, this will be quite interesting. And this is on recording. Kami-chan and Death-kun are going to love this. The man known as the Timekeeper, or known to Naruto Time-kun when they aren't in serious business. He was laughing evilly as the holographic projection that was seen through one of his clocks was being recorded for blackmail for later use. Suna stared at the tons of love letters that were stuffed into her locker. She could feel her eye twitch at the sight. Even if she had been trained by a godly beast, she didn't stand a chance against crazed horny fanboys. She sighed as she closed the locker door. Why do I have a feeling this day is going to end really, really badly? She thought to herself as she walked down the school gates with Gokudera and Yamamoto until she felt something land on her head. Yo, Suna-chan, baseball melon, self-proclaimed bombhead. Naruto greeted the three as he smiled cheekily at them. Why you little? Gokudera was about to badmouth the chibi until he remembered that his boss was there as well. Hey Naruto. Yamamoto greeted obvious of the angered Gokudera and insult. Naruto. Suna sighed out her teacher's name as she grabbed him from the top of her head and looked him straight in the eye, brown eyes staring down at large blue eyes. You really shouldn't be calling Yamamoto and Gokudera-kun names, you know. It isn't really nice. The said two were blushing lightly at Suna's actions. She looked like a mother chastising her own child. And if you won't listen, I won't let you eat any more ramen for dinner anymore. Suna smiled sardonically at Naruto's shocked face. No, more, ramen? He whimpered with chibi tears slowly surfacing. And as well I'll reveal that stash of Icha Icha paradise. Suna deadpanned as she laid the quietly crying chibi on the floor and skipped merrily down the sidewalk. I wonder what will Bianchi-chan will think. She'll be cooking your ramen from now on when she learns of it, Suna said sweetly with a small giggle, but Naruto knew that she was evilly smirking on the inside, enjoying his misery. You vile traitor. Naruto glared at the retreating back of his heir as she merrily skipped. A sweat drop was seen on the back of Gokudera's and Yamamoto's head as they watched the scene before them. Women are scary. Later at Suna's house, Naruto stared uneasily at the ramen that was set before him, while an amused Suna was watching him from her right. She was happily eating miso soup. Is there something wrong, Naru-kun? A worried Nana asked as she stared at the sweating bullets chibi before her. Naruto stared up in surprise as he was praying to Kami. Oh, nothing's wrong. Just that my life ended once you placed this poisoned ramen before me. Please let it be a peaceful death. And nothing, Nana-chan. I'm just in such awe at how delicious this ramen looks. Naruto said with a sparkling smiling face while on the inside he was crying chibi tears. Please don't let me eat this. Reborn watched with hidden amusement at how the sky beast acted. If you say it looks delicious, then eat it already. Reborn said in a matter-of-factly tone. Naruto shot a glare at the chibi mafia, which just looked like a cute pout to others. Reborn only smiled innocently at the glare. Hope you like it, Naru-kun. Bianchi made it for you since Su-chan suggested her to make it for you. Nana sweetly said as the said person walked in with a small smile and sat at the table eating right away while watching expectantly for the blonde chibi to eat her cooked ramen. Naruto turned back at the ramen and gulped. It looked so innocent, but who knows what Bianchi put in it. Suna said she was going to have Bianchi cook his ramen tonight, and he did not want to die right now. He still hadn't seen Paris, and still hadn't seen his grandchildren. Well, he was somewhat of a father to Suna, so yeah, he could just see it now. The babies with black hair and large brown eyes, so adorable yet so evil at same time. Ah, and their first words would be, I'll bite ya to death. He could see them biting Gokudera's hand and him yelling a string of curses at Naruto for this daydream. Naruto blinked out of his daydream and noticed Lambo was running around with Ipin chasing after him, again. A light bulb appeared over his head and flashed a blinding light. He had an idea. Ah. Yes, of course. This delicious and mouth-watering ramen shouldn't be wasted one bit. Yum. I can't wait to taste its sweet and tasty noodles that a beautiful goddess cooked up only for me. Naruto said rather loudly, catching Lambo's attention. Suna and Reborn caught the evil glint in the mischievous blonde's eyes. He was up to something, and that something involved a certain baby cow. This stuff is going to taste great when I pour it in my mouth. Naruto scooped up some noodles with his chopsticks towards his waiting mouth. As it neared, Naruto said one last thing. It's going to be so delicious it'll taste like the greatest candy ever. A flash of white appeared in front of Naruto. Lambo appeared on the other side of the table opposite of Naruto's side, holding the bowl of ramen in his hands. Aha! Now the great Lambo will have the tasty ramen all to himself, he said with a triumphant voice as he was about to make a move to eat the ramen. Nana and Bianchi weren't paying attention enough to notice that Naruto wasn't making a dash for it to save his precious ramen. But Suna and Reborn were staring the blonde as he smiled, waiting patiently at the outcome. It only took one bite. The bowl fell from the baby's hands as his body fell forward, unconscious. Oops, I think he couldn't take the unlikely delicacy that Bianchi's food held, Naruto said as he made a dash to upstairs. Well, I'll have my bath now. Damn, Naru-chan just finds a loophole in everything, Suna thought, annoyed. Well, that's part of being the Sky Beast. He is as sly as ever, mused and entertained Reborn. Lambo doesn't feel so good, stomach so queasy. Reborn jumped over to the somewhat unconscious Lambo as he kicked the baby to his side, seeing his eyes were swirling like whirlpools with drool dripping down his face while clutching his stomach. Stupid cow, muttered the Acrobaleno. Later Naruto sighed in relief as he had barely escaped with his life. He sprawled out comfortably on Suna's bed as he was quietly dozing off to sleep until he felt a shake from his side. He turned his head slightly to see Suna in her pajamas with 2 cups of hot chocolate in both hands. Mom just made this. Since you didn't eat anything, Mom was worried and made hot chocolate for me and you, she explained as she settled the cups on the counter beside her bed. Naruto stared at the 2 cups boringly. Ah, time to sleep, Dame Suna, Reborn said as he tucked himself in his tiny yet comfortable bed that he had somehow fitted in the bedroom. Suna turned to Reborn with a nod. All right, Reborn, good night, and he was off like a light. Suna turned back to the cups and quickly grabbed them and handed one to Naruto as he lazily held it in his small hands. Take a large gulp to relax you. Suna smiled as she took a sip of hers. She stopped. This wasn't her hot chocolate, it tasted like Bianchi's hot chocolate. She soon dashed out of the room to wipe out the disgusting taste, all the while a blonde chibi was laughing hysterically. I'm not that stupid, Suna-chan, Naruto calmly said as he settled the cup back at the counter and snuggled into the blankets and soon dozed off, dreaming of his one and true love, ramen. People say there that mythical gods and magical beings do not exist, but they do not realize how close they are to being near one themselves. The great god known as Sky Beast was the most powerful and strangest being to exist. His powers to shapeshift, cause trickery and control over all elements. But what is the most greatest weakness of the Sky Beast? Only few know, and those few are silenced by death. What the deity holds so dearly close to him may be his demise. Naruto watched as Suna was sleeping peacefully in her bed, yet another day of hard training. Only a year had passed and Naruto could see Suna was starting to improve steadily. She had grown stronger, gained more speed and stealth, and her grades were up to a C+. Suna and her mom were so happy that they celebrated. It was a good day. Naruto taught chakra control since it seemed Suna had some chakra in her, which was quite surprising in itself since it was very rare for someone to have at least a bit of chakra. This just made Naruto's job easier. Suna learned to create shadow clones to at least 3 others of herself since she still didn't have enough chakra control. She was good at hand-to-hand combat. She had also learned to walk on water and walls with controlling her chakra at her feet, which only took 2 months to perfect. And somehow Suna had learned the sexy no jutsu by accident, which caused Naruto to get a major nosebleed. Suna would have beaten the shit out of Naruto if he weren't in his chibi form. For once Naruto was glad he had his chibi body. Oh, and did I mention that Suna began to change? Well, she did. Since she was the successor of the Sky Beast and started to gain traits from him, it was not much but still given few. The top of her hair began to spike up into long locks from the top of her head to her bangs. It looked like a new type of new hairstyle that only she and Naruto could pull off. Her pale skin had started to darken to a nice milky tan and her body began to have hit puberty with a big chest and a flawless curved body. Naruto had refrained from walking in the room since he wasn't sure if Suna was changing in there or not, but they still shared the same bed. Naruto viewed Suna as a younger sister as Suna viewed Naruto as a brother. She wasn't sure of older or younger since he had the body of a baby, but he was definitely older. Well, anyway, back to the present. Naruto was staring at a picture that Suna hid under her pillow. It was a picture of a teenage boy with raven black hair and steely coal eyes. He was wearing the Nanamori middle school boy's uniform with a red armband. Naruto had seen this boy in town sometimes. People stayed clear from him. He had gathered information that his name was Kiyoya Hibari, the prefect of Nanamori Middle School, and his favorite quote, "I'll bite you to death." Hibari reminded Naruto of Sasuke for the characteristics and similar personality. A snicker emitted from Naruto when he saw Suna mumbling in her sleep. "Stupid fanboys, I'll go ninja on you." Naruto once again snickered from what Suna was talking about. It appeared that the boys were finally noticing Suna when she once came to school looking very, very different. Flashback. Suna tugged on her skirt. It had gone smaller, oddly enough. Perhaps because she had grown taller and she had finally curves. "The boys are going to love you, Suna-chan." Naruto cheered as he stood on the kitchen table with Nana, Suna's mother, clapping softly. "You look beautiful, Su-chan." Nana complimented politely. "Yeah, she does. She's going to break all those boys' hearts," Naruto said as he jumped on top of Suna's head as she tugged on the bow around her collar. The first 2 buttons of her shirt was left open since Suna couldn't breathe very properly since chest was tight under the shirt. "I'll have to get a bigger size of the uniform later." Suna muttered softly, started to walk down the hallway with Naruto still sitting cross-legged on top of her head. She softly turned to the mirror hanging on the wall and looked herself over. She wore a white short-sleeved button-up shirt with the first two buttons undone, revealing a little of her cleavage and acting like a second skin with the red bow loosely tied around the collar. A dark pleated skirt was worn, showing off her curved hips, and biker shorts were seen under the skirt. Wouldn't want any pedophiles seeing anything now, do we? And knee-high black stockings covered her legs, only leaving to the knee up to the end of the thigh-long biker shorts, showing off her flawless softly tanned skin. Naruto whistled wolfishly at the sight of Suna, causing the said girl to blush. Man, this is going to be fun. The guys who try to touch you won't live to see the sunset, Suna-chan, said Naruto as he thought up of all the torture would come to the guys who tried to rape his successor. Oh yes, this would be so much fun for him. Suna rolled her eyes at the chibi on her head and left off for school. On the way, wolf whistles and cries of bloody murder were heard throughout the way to school. Suna was obvious of it all since she was listening to her iPod Nano and didn't pay attention to the chibi who had released 7 shadow clones and transformed them to his sexy harem jutsu, where the female clone Naruto's held chainsaws, axes and butcher knives. It was a bloody massacre that trailed behind an obvious Suna. Pain, blood, gore, and did I mention extreme pain as well? That's what was happening to the poor saps that tried to even go near Suna. When they finally neared the gates to Nanamori Middle School, Suna removed her earphones to look up at, or at least try to see a very happy Naruto nestled on her head. She didn't notice the grenade that held in his hands behind his back. He was just about to throw it to the hentais that were trailing behind her. He swiftly jumped off at his spot on the girl's head and landed on the ground on his feet. Well, Suna-chan, good luck, Naruto said as he turned to the girl. With a small wave of his chibi hand, the grenade disappeared to be disposed of until later. No, I'm sorry, please. Cries of pain and bloody murder were heard down the school grounds. The chibi and girl got curious and peeked into behind the gates, seeing Hibari Kyoya, the prefect, beating a misbehaving student. Naruto raised a delicate eyebrow at the display before him. This guy was scary. He continued to watch until he heard a dreamy sigh from above. He looked up to see a goggling Suna with a small shade of pink adorning her cheeks. She was blushing and goggling. At who? Naruto's eyes traveled to where Suna's eyes continued to stare at. His eyes laid upon Hibari as he smashed his tonfas into a guy's face, making him swallow his own teeth. He looked back at Suna strangely. She liked those types of guys? A small, almost unnoticeable smirk began to appear on his face as his eyes glinted mischievously. Well, like I said before, good luck, Suna-chan. Naruto's voice brought Suna out of her daze. She looked down to the chibi, noticing that he motioned for her to come closer. She kneeled down to his height, noticing the evil glint in those big eyes of his. She had a bad feeling that Naruto was up to no good again, like always. He extended his arm out to Suna with a closed fist. She stared at him questionably until she brought her more bigger but slim hand out under his small fist. Naruto rested his fist as he used his other hand to shake her own larger hand. This will help you just in case. Naruto's smile grew wider until it was ear to ear, threatening to split in half. He released his hands from her own but closed her hand as to not see what he had given her yet until he was in a more safer place. Well, see ya, Naruto waved and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Suna stared at the spot her mentor was standing previously, and then her stare turned to her closed hand. Out of curiosity, she opened her hand to see something that she never wanted to see. A condom was in her hands. Suna's body became stone as she stared at the condom in shock. Naru-chan, she growled out as her skin became a glowing red and her teeth gritted angrily. You hentai. A loud screech was heard all throughout Japan, while a certain chibi was laughing his lungs out at the sight he saw. Suna was burning, and I mean burning. Fire was seen in the background as she trudged down to her classes. No one dared to go near her, wondering who she was. And the guys who were stupid enough to confront her were, well, let's just say they won't be able to have babies or pee right for the rest of their lives. Flashback, and a sweat drop was seen on the back of Naruto's head at the memory. If it weren't for his ultimate weapon, the big teary-eyed chibi glare, he wouldn't be able to pee the same way ever again. With a stifled yawn, Naruto decided to hit the sack as well. He snuggled into the blankets next to Suna. Night, why night, Suna-chan. With another yawn, Naruto entered a dreamless sleep. Time skip. Next morning, Su-chan. Naru-kun. Time to wake up. Nana's voice was heard throughout the house. Suna sluggishly hoisted herself up on the bed with her elbows, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes with the back of her hand as she removed the blankets to the side, causing to wake a sleeping chibi Naruto. 5 more minutes. 1, Naruto slurred out as he tried to grab the blanket but could only grab onto Suna's t-shirt. The girl sighed as she tried to pull his hand from her shirt, but unfortunately it wouldn't budge. Well, of course, This chibi has the strength that could lift a bull, she thought tiredly, pinching the cheek of the chibi. But you're really cheeky and not cute, you know, she muttered, getting a groan from Naruto. She was about to get out of bed when her mom appeared before her all of a sudden. HHHHII, she screeched, not fazing the sleeping chibi next to her. Sometimes I think Naru-chan is giving lessons to mom for the art of ninja. Suna, who had gotten over her shock, stared at her mother tiredly, sitting on the bed more properly. Morning, Mom. Suna greeted and earned a warm smile from Nana. She was holding a piece of paper in her hands, and soon Suna's life felt as though it became much, much worse. Naruto couldn't help but stare at the face of another chibi that was the same height as him. He was still sleepy and the screech of Suna's voice had woken him up. The other chibi, from Naruto's perspective, wore a fedora hat and a little black suit with, was that a green gun in his hands? Without realizing that he had unconsciously held on to Suna's clothing, who had changed into her school uniform, and Naruto had somehow clung to her uniform while he was still sleeping. His large eyes widened shockingly when the chibi pulled the trigger of his green gun, which looked like a toy gun instead of a real one, and shot out a bullet that left a small trail of sparkling red behind it. Before he or Suna could react, the gun met impact right on Suna's head. The girl fell down none too softly as she met the ground. Naruto's eyes narrowed once he turned towards the other chibi. The baby smiled at the glaring blonde chibi. He fucking smiled? That just fueled Naruto's anger even more. He was going to kill the damn brat. But before he could actually take action, he felt a large amount of spiritual energy unleash. Turning back towards presuming to be Suna's corpse, was the said girl very much alive with a flame flaring over her forehead, and her eyes seemed to have narrowed. And most of all, she was in her undergarments, and with a loud shout of, "Reborn!" Suna ran off in great speed and had disappeared from the two chibis' views. Naruto could feel his eye twitch. What he saw was a little too weird and strange for his liking. Deciding to follow after his successor to make sure no pedophiles would try to jump her while she was in that state. With one last glare at the fedora hat wearing chibi, he shunshined to catch up to the girl, promising pain to the little fedora wearing brat if he ever saw him again, while not paying attention that the said brat was following behind but not as fast, feeling impressed at the blonde chibi's speed. He will be very useful for the Vongola, thought Reborn as he watched carefully at blonde chibi's movements and length of speed. It almost looked as though he was teleporting. With a small smile tugged on the hitman's lips, Reborn couldn't help but feel interest in the blonde. Yes, this will be very interesting indeed. Suna. So I was originally supposed to stay male while Naruto-san was a girl? Me. Nods. Yeah, Naruto was going to be called Narumi and have a busty and curvy body and make you Tuna-chan be attracted to her. Naruto. So you're saying this story was originally going to be a Suna x Fem Naruto pairing story, right? Me. Nods again. Yeah, and I was going to make Hibari a girl to make a Makoro x Fem Hibari pairing since I suck at yaoi. But then I changed my mind. I thought, what the hell? A Makoro x Fem Hibari pairing? They're both seems. Then I wanted to change the story a bit, make Suna a girl and let Naruto stay a girl and make a Reborn x Fem Naruto pairing, but I thought about Colonello-kun and I like the Reborn x Colonello pairing. And then I decided to make Naruto male and leave Suna female since he fits the girl role much better. Suna. Cries in a corner. Why'd I always have to be the uke? Naruto. Because you have a small body in every length including your nether regions and you're innocent looking with those big eyes of yours and your personality is very shy, asterisk continues on. Suna. Sulks more asterisk me. Well, I'll show you guys the original plot of what Sky Beast was supposed to be. Naruto. Blinks. Hey. Where is Hiroki-kun and Tessuro-san? Me. Oh, I gave them a break and are on vacation in Chibi Land, where there are robot chibis of me with them all the time. Smiles. In Chibi Land, Tessuro. Damn you, chibi. Kicks away a Neko-chan chibi robot. Hiroki. Ah, they're so cute. You shouldn't be so mean, Tessuro-san. Petting a Neko-chan robot on the head while being glomped by two others. Tessuro. I twitches comically well. They like you, Hiro. Me and that chibi don't exactly get along and these things hate me. Ow. Gets hit by a chibi robot. Hiroki. Sighs. Well, I hope Chibi-chan is alright on her own. She might mess up a story on her own. Tessuro. Yeah, she isn't exactly the most brightest and elegant Neko out there. Smirks. Hiroki. Nods. Yes, you're right about that. Back with Naruto and Suna and Neko-chan. Me. I twitches. Naruto. Snickers. Suna. Giggles. Me. Smiles evilly. I'll be right back. In the meantime, enjoy the look on the original plot of Sky Beast before it was changed. Starts a chainsaw and runs off to Chibi Land. Naruto. Sighs, well, enjoy. We got to stop the idiot Neko before she kills off her subordinates. Asterisk walks after Neko-chan. Suna. Enjoy. Runs after Naruto. Asterisk Sky Beast. Original former plot preview. Suna stared up at the naked blonde woman before him. He could feel an oncoming nosebleed. Naru-chan. Why exactly are you in the bath with me? The brunette questioned as the blonde known as Narumi washed her hair. Well, I wanted to bring my bonds with Suna-kun closer, so I thought it would be nice to scrub each other's backs, she said in a chipper voice. She wasn't the smartest deity out there. I guess I can understand, but there is one thing I'd like to know. Suna glared annoyed at a certain chibi. Why the hell are you here? He pointed at Reborn, who was relaxing in the bath with Leon being petted in his hands. I would like to strengthen my bonds with Sky Beast-san as well. Reborn said simply as the said person petted Reborn on the head, causing his already spiky hair to go in disarray. Now Reborn-chan, you don't have to be so formal with me. Just call me Naru-chan, she said, all giddy, gaining an amused grin from the Acrobaleno. Suna couldn't help but feel there was something wrong with this picture. He just wanted some peace and quiet. That's all he asked for. Kami must hate him right now. With a sigh of defeat, Suna began to wash his hair as he eyed the other two. Luckily, the soap bubbles in Narumi's long blonde hair were covering her private parts. But that didn't stop from Suna getting a nosebleed at the sight of his mentor. With a shake of his head, Suna tried to think of something else that didn't involve with Narumi's body. Honestly, he liked Kyoko, not Narumi. So why was he always blushing when Narumi was around him? Stupid hormones. Suna was about to clean his body with soap when Narumi called his name. The brunette turned without thinking. What? Suna stopped in mid-sentence and could feel his nosebleed coming when he got a good view of Narumi's breasts. The blonde grabbed the young boy and glomped him, causing his face to be smashed with her large melons. Don't be so jealous, Suna-kun. I'll wash your back if you want. She wasn't paying attention that the brunette was slowly losing oxygen. If he was going to die, it would be a happy death. Reborn could all but smirk at the sight. Suna had a lot to learn, especially with women. Dame Suna, this is good practice, he said as he watched Suna being suffocated with Narumi's large breasts. We gain power, we are given wisdom, we train for strength. We all protect, destroy and regain anew. Gods of myth went through the same as humans. Sky Beast, a powerful deity who rises higher than others, gained his legend by protecting the people he cares most for, gaining, losing and regaining once more of the bonds that connects him to the people most important to him. But he will never gain true happiness, for he is a god. And a god is unable to always protect their own joy in life, or he would have never been a god if he was selfish. Suna couldn't help but stare. She was in front of the school's gate, not late like usual, but something was off. With a blink she looked down herself, feeling a very cold breeze. What met her was her body, and only in her undergarments. Her mind went blank. She could feel as though heat were rising up to her face. She opened her mouth to wonder why she wasn't wearing any clothing besides her lacy bra and panda underwear, but the memories rushed in and remembered Reborn, the home tutor, and shooting her with a dying wool bullet. Flashback. Suna stared at the flyer in her mom's hands. Home tutor? Suna questioned. She didn't understand this. She was already getting better grades, although not much, but still. She was still a nervous and clumsy girl like before, but she has changed at least a little. Naruto, who had been only training her more physically than educationally, had told her most of the legends and myths and history of where he has traveled, which had boosted her grade up in history and geography, but her other classes, especially math, were still poor. Now that she thought about it, maybe she did need a tutor. This is an interesting flyer in the mailbox, Nana said in a chipper voice, as resulting in bringing Suna out of her train of thought. Backquote, will raise your kid to be the next leader of the next generation. Grade and subject does not matter. Signed Reborn. Backquote. Nana recited as she looked over the flyer. Suna couldn't help but think that was a bit overly exaggerated and a little suspicious. Deciding not to think much of it, she decided to change. Sounds interesting, Mom. When is this Reborn character going to show up? Suna asked absent-mindedly as she discarded her pajamas, being careful of the chibi that had still clasped onto her pajama shirt and fell softly onto the bed, still not awakening from his sleep. Quickly placing on the bra and underwear, deciding not to wear her sports bra or biker shorts today, she placed her school uniform on, looking neat and clean. Well, it seems he'll be here anytime soon. Sounds so exciting, her mother exclaimed as she watched as Suna readjusted her red bow tie and trying to tuck in the still sleeping Naruto. And as she was about to leave her room to quickly fix her hair and brush her teeth, she felt a tug on the bottom part of her shirt, looking down unexpectedly, finding Naruto once again have a vice grip on her clothing. If she tried to remove him from the grip he had on her clothing, she would most likely have a bite mark on her hand that would be slightly bleeding. It happened before when Naruto was eating too much ramen for a snack and bit Suna when she tried to take away his bowl of ramen. She had smacked him with a rolled-up newspaper too many times to count after that. The only way for Naruto to ever listen is if it involved ramen or you smacked him with a rolled-up newspaper. To tell the truth, he acted like a disobedient dog at times. Well anyway, trying to ignore the extra weight, Suna went out of her room with her mother trailing behind. Her daily morning routine: get up, get dressed, Naruto sleepily hanging off of her clothes, brush teeth, comb hair and go downstairs to have breakfast. But her routine was soon shattered. Before she could even go have breakfast with Naruto still gripping on her, downstairs she saw a small little baby about Naruto's size wearing a black suit with a fedora hat. She was still on the top of the stairs and didn't get a very good look at the baby until she tripped, falling down, hitting her head on the way. Suna lay dizzily on the floor. She was, and still is, a klutz. Her head had hit against Naruto's forehead, causing a reaction. A flash went through Suna's head, feeling her body go numb. "My name is Konohamaru, and I'll be the 7th Hokage and I'll beat you, boss," a young boy declared as he pointed his forefinger at a blonde. The said blonde wore a black open jacket over a bandage-covered chest, and his cargo jeans were dirtied with mud and grass stains as his long blonde hair was tied in a low ponytail with dirt covering parts of his tanned face. With a small smirk the blonde answered, "We'll see." With elegant strides the blonde stood before the younger child. Placing a delicate sun-kissed hand over the dark locks of the child, he smiled in mischief. "I can't wait to see the day. Good luck, kid." There was no sarcasm in his voice, only pride and enjoyment for the child was heard. Kneeling down to the young brunette's eye level, the blonde held out a necklace with a shining blue diamond dangling in the black string. "Konohamaru, this is a memento from me to carry out your dreams. Pass this down to your children and your children's children. It was given to me by the 6th Hokage herself. It has been with me through thick and thin, and it will do for you as well." With that the boy began to cry tears as the necklace was placed in his open hands. "Right, boss," the boy said in salute. Suna blinked, rubbing the sore spot on her forehead out of pain. That was weird, she all but muttered, looking down to still see the blonde chibi still clinging to her clothing. He was not hurt one, but maybe it was because he had a hard head? "Damn you, Naru-chan," she lightly glared at her still unconscious mentor. The chibi all but muttered incoherent words, but Suna could distinctly hear something close to, "Tamari-chan, stop, that tickles." She could feel her eye twitch at that. What the hell was he dreaming about? Wait, actually, she'd rather not know. Inside Naruto's mind, "Suna, I said I didn't want to know." Naruto was currently in his fox form, but he was the size of a Saint Bernard. His former lover Tamari was scratching the back of his ears, all the while tickling his ears a bit. He could all but sigh in content. He had missed these days when Tamari was still alive and his kits would run around in the grasslands. But his lover was not immortal, and his children had to grow up and have their own families. With another sigh, this one out of sadness, he had lost trace of his family, not knowing if any descendants were alive or not. Naruto blinked. He couldn't feel Tamari's hands softly scratching the back of his ears no longer, or much less could feel her body warmth. He looked around alarmingly as he was in utter complete darkness with no one in sight. His fur stood out of the darkness, so pure white that it was almost glowing. His glowing golden demonic eyes narrowed. "Do you mind revealing yourself? I'd rather get this over with and get back to dreaming," the white fox questioned. Almost immediately a gray beam of light shone throughout the darkness before Naruto. A woman appeared before him. She had dark gray hair that was done in a tight bun and narrowed cobalt eyes. She was wearing a black fur-seed yukata with red butterflies on the sleeves. She showed a large amount of cleavage. She had a seductive look as she gazed at Naruto. "It is only I, the Nightmare Mistress, my liege." She bowed in respect. Naruto remembered her. She was the onbringer of nightmares, the creator of your worst fears and the one that awaits at the edge of insanity. This woman was not to be messed with since she was a high-level demoness, and not to mention has a short temper. Naruto never really did like the demoness. With a sharp sigh Naruto glared at the woman. "What do you want?" "I was remembering my past memories of my lover. You know not to disturb me." The demoness frowned at the mention of the sky beast's lover. The woman was a human, for crying out loud. She utterly despised humans, especially that woman. She heard a soft yet menacing growl coming from the fox. She knew that he knew that she didn't like Tamari at all. "If this is all you needed, leave now." Before the demoness could say anything else, she was engulfed by a bright light with a scream of pain disappearing from his sights. God. He hated that woman. He didn't want anything to do with her. Whenever he dreamed of his family, the demoness would shatter it with horrible memories he'd rather not remember, or rather show up and try to seduce him. With a soft sigh, he laid down comfortably. He just wished he could at least have a moment of pure happiness. Out of Naruto's mind, Suna tried to pry the dang chibi off of her, ignoring the guest in front of her as she did this. Damn it. Let go now, Baka Chibi. The brunette protested as she pinched the blonde's chubby cheeks out of annoyance. Tamari-chan, come to Big Fox-kun and show me some love. She could feel the shivers going up and down her spine as Suna stared in disturbance at the blonde chibi. Seriously, what type of dreams was he having? Hentai, Suna deadpanned as she could feel her eyebrow twitch. She really wanted to know what he was dreaming, yet she didn't want to know all at the same time. Who knows how much of a pervert Naruto is? Chaso. A childish squeaky voice said, all of a sudden bringing Suna out of her train of thought. Suna looked up to see a chibi baby. He was wearing a fedora hat with a black suit and what appeared to be a yellow pacifier hanging around his neck that strangely suited him, and he also had was that a chameleon on the rim of his hat? Hello? That came out more of a questioning answer. Who are you exactly? Suna was mildly surprised to see the baby pull out a card, looking all professional and businesslike. At this time Nana had waltz on and wondering what was causing all the commotion. I'm Reborn, the home tutor. I'll be the one to tutor you. He sounded all serious, but with that face he was just too cute. With a giggle from the mother and daughter, Suna turned to a sitting position in front of the baby, careful not to flash the innocent eyes of the child. Yeah, right. Little boy. Where's your parents? She was only answered by a kick in the face. Don't treat me as though I'm a child. Appearances are deceiving, said Reborn as he got a groan from the girl. And it all went downhill there. Flashback end. Suna-chan. Naruto's voice was heard. Suna turned to see the flash of yellow coming towards her. Ah, is that Naru-chan? The brunette wondered, not noticing the thing she was clutching her hands. Naruto stopped dead in his tracks. If it wasn't for the fact that Naruto thought of Suna as a sister, he would have a major nosebleed right now. But even though he thought of her that way, he couldn't help but stare at the curves, her large set of melons, and not to mention well-toned muscles. God, she was a beauty where human females and goddesses alike would have seethed green in envy. If he hadn't thought of her that way, then maybe. Damn it, Naruto. She's a freaking minor and you already have someone to love. Angel Naruto said as he whacked Naruto with a hammer. She's a hottie, Naruto. Besides, Tamari would have wanted you to be happy after she died. Devil Naruto whacked Naruto's head with his red trident. Naruto, that isn't good. You can't just censor and censor Suna-chan. Are you a man whore or something? Naruto glared at Angel Naruto at that. Of course not. No way in hell would I censor and censor Suna-chan. She's like a sister to me. Naruto pumped a fist in the air as lights from the heaven above shined upon him. No way in hell would I do that to Tsuna-chan. Angel Naruto smashed Devil Naruto into the ground with his hammer and sending him back to hell. What was that? Seethed an angry voice. Naruto stopped. Oh, he was in a world of pain. He looked towards Angel Naruto for reassurance. Nay, you're on your own, pal. Angel Naruto said while shrugging and puffed away, leaving Naruto with his worst nightmare. A pissed-off woman who was on her period. Neither of the two noticed the chibi baby who was watching them. He smirked evilly at the mayhem. He just loved fucking with people's minds. Sky, sand, earth, water, shadow, light, metal, void, and fire. These are the elements of the unholy deities of the tailed beasts, known as the unholy saint beasts. The sky beast, sand beast, shadow beast, aqua beast, light beast, metallic beast, void beast, hellfire beast, and earth beast. Strongest of all beings, quicker, faster and smarter, but they lack in something that others will continue to gain. In the condition of life and death, they lack the self-control of stopping the continuous bloodshed and go to a murderous state where they are unable to forgive. They will continue to destroy whatever is in their paths to eliminate the object that has caused them great deal of pain. Losing sight of reality, they will kill their own family, friends and lovers to satisfy their demons. The unholy saint beasts are the most feared and will obliterate until there is nothing left. Suna was furious, and I mean pissed off. She was going to kill the baby Reborn and Naruto along with him. Suna-chan, I think you should let go of that corpse now, Naruto said hesitantly as he stared at the boy that was held by the hair. Poor idiot. Suna for the first time looked down to see her senpai. I'm so sorry Mochida-senpai, she screamed, almost busting Naruto's sensitive hearing. Reminds me of our first encounter, he muttered to himself as he rubbed his poor ears with his hands. He watched as she dropped the poor idiot on the ground, getting an incoherent groan from meeting the cold ground. Naruto decided for the fun of it he grabbed a kunai and poked the boy on his side with it, just to make sure he was alive. Not. Getting an audible groan of pain from the sharp object, Naruto grinned. Well, from the sound of his pain he's surprisingly still alive. Oh, and Suna-chan. Naruto turned to the girl, trying to stare at her face and not her perfect body. Hi. I suggest you run, since you're in underwear and your lover boy is standing right behind you. Yes, she knew she was mostly nude, but she learned that she wasn't too embarrassed about it. Some of the fire element jutsus she practiced during summer break, where she and Naruto had been up in the mountains where she had accidentally burned her clothing and had to only wear a sports bra and torn jeans. She sometimes had to go naked to wash the little clothing she had. Man, that was embarrassing, but what she didn't understand was what Naruto meant by lover boy. What do you mean by that, Naru-chan? Don't tell me it's one of my stalkers again, she questioned, getting a shake of the head that answered no. Naruto smirked when he saw that dumb look his successor had, but his smirk grew ear to ear when that boy began to walk closer and closer to her from behind. I'll give you a hint, his favorite catchphrase is "I'll bite you to death." He knew his smirk looked like it belonged to serial killer, but when he saw the color drain from Suna's face he could barely hold in his laughter. Oh shit. Suna whispered out as she twirled around to meet a pair of icy cold gray eyes. Suna could feel her face warming up at the sight of those eyes stared down at her. Her heart accelerated, hearing the loud thumps of her heart echoing into her ears. And it did not help the fact that she was only in her undergarments and he would be seeing most of her bare skin. Hibari-san. Stuttering out his name was rather embarrassing, and Suna just knew she was going to be in so much trouble. Hibari Kyoya was many things, and herbivore with dirty thoughts of a half-naked girl was not one of them. But if he didn't have any self-control, he knew he would be having a nosebleed with a rosy color rise over his cheeks. But even so, he could feel his nether regions feel as though they were starting to pit into a warm type of sensation. Damn these teenage hormones. Half-naked herbivore, the bell is about to ring, and if you're late to class I'll bite you to death, he said as he stared down at the quivering girl. He couldn't help but feel satisfied with the fearful look. It was as though sensational in a way. Maybe this little herbivore would be fun to play with. With a quick nod she began to back away from the carnivore and running over to Naruto, who was still grinning. Fox-kun. Naruto flinched, he wasn't accepting a call. What is it time, kun? Naruto said mentally, not noticing the other chibis standing next to him. Ah, good, you heard me. We have some urgent business to attend to. It appears the demon crusaders of the 8th dimension had attacked your home world. Or at least the world that you created for your people. This wasn't good. The demon crusaders were bad news. Wielding the flames of Hades, they had the power that were neared as the gods themselves. The 8th dimension was ruled over by the demonic demigod Volos, holding the crown of lost souls and the near strength of Hades himself. This dimension was a horrible place where the deadliest and the most horrible creatures roam freely. The 8th dimension was a prison world to hold the criminals to ever be known. He should know. Naruto had to spend some time there for intense training before he entered the untouched human planes of this dimension. 5,591 years to be exact. He sure didn't miss that place, that's for sure. What happened? What do they want? That dimension was destroyed like many others. Naruto had to hold in the anger of the thought of his friends being killed. But what they want is, at the least of what I have gained is that their leader Volos wants the power of the tailed unholy saint beasts. I safely evacuated the few I could save. Akatsuki, who have the few tailed saint beasts with them, 2 other saint beasts and a Nara family member. Naruto wasn't the only godly beast out there, 8 other beasts were created along with him. They were known as the unholy saint beasts. Taking forms of animals, they were the most powerful entities to exist, and the sky beast. Naruto was the most powerful of all. The first that was called the sand beast, a 1-tailed raccoon dog. Shadow beast, a cat with 2 tails. They were the only 3 that had survived from the attack of an organization of the clones of the Akatsuki who was ruled by a man named Orochimaru. Many of the Akatsuki members became the new tailed beasts after the death of the old generation, but they weren't as skilled as the other 3, but it was still alright. Tell me, Timekeeper, are they coming to the dimension I'm residing in? And if they were, this wasn't going to be good. Naruto was starting to grow weak, even as though it didn't seem to Suna, but he was. The white and azure flames were entering Suna slowly from him. With a tired sigh he rubbed his forehead in annoyance as he tried to think of something that would keep this at bay if it were to happen. It appears so. From how fast they are reaching to the dimensional planes they'll be there from the dimensional time you're in it would be only about 2.5 years from now. Just great, that was simply lovely. Damn it, he's going to battle those damn beings he needed to fight them in another place and time. Wait, that's it. Timekeeper, the Crusaders will have to pass the void of endless time to enter this dimension, correct? Well, yes, of course. The voice said in a questioning manner, knowing that whatever was going to happen wasn't going to be good. The void of endless time was a wide empty landscape that was a blank space and time that many would have to cross to enter other worlds. Time seemed to stop in that part where it was never a day nor a night. A second felt like an hour and a day itself felt like years. It was also a cross-world that connected to the dimension that Tsuna and the others lived in Naruto's former homeland, where he and the other saint beasts had created, bringing the ninja world to that new one. Only a few of his friends stayed behind, where in the homeland time had slowed, only being 5 years, and who knows how long it has been in this time stream. But, now when the time came, he was going to obliterate the Crusaders and Volos along with them. In 1.5 years I want you to gather Loki and the others to this dimension. Make sure that the Sand Beast and Shadow Beast get here before the year ends. They need successors as well to train. With getting a tired sigh from the echoing voice in his head, the timekeeper made an incoherent yes. And soon his mind was pretty much blank as it could get. Naru-chan, Naru-chan. This wasn't good, not at all. He had only been able to teach Tsuna the basics. She had not been able to learn her chakra element, and he hoped she would at least get a water or wind element so as to teach the Rasengan to her. Oi, cheeky chibi. Are you in there? And to the top of Naruto's list of why his life is getting shitty. Gaara and Yugito were coming. Yeah, especially since when they don't have successors at all. And as soon as the raccoon dog sees him, he'll try his sand coffin out on Naruto. He's still mad that Naruto got Temari pregnant at 16. Damn it, Naruto. I'm trying to talk to you. What was that really annoying voice that was bothering him from his thoughts? Oh well, it doesn't matter. He needed Loki, Jing, Ichigo, Luffy, Zero, that pureblood Konami, and maybe even Yuko to help with the battle. Their worlds were going to be at stake just as well, unless their worlds were destroyed already. He hoped not. And Timekeeper did say that Inara survived. Maybe that means Shikamaru is alive. He really is in deep thought. Are you sure he is the Sky Beast Dame Tsuna? Of course he is. He's just a baka at times. And please stop calling me that. I'm not as bad in grades and athletics anymore. Why did he have a feeling that he should run? Like right now. Maybe Naruto should finally listen to that nagging feeling that screamed. Start moving those chibi legs, you dumbass. Nah, he'll just forget about it. And this is why he's a dobi. Whack. Ow. Naruto yelped out, holding the bruise on his head in pain, glaring up at Tsuna, who was dressed in her uniform and had a rolled-up newspaper in one hand while she had a glare of her own. He blinked once, twice, thrice. Hey, weren't you half naked a second ago? Whack. Damn it. Will you stop that? He yelled, holding the new bruise on his head. Why did she even carry that rolled-up newspaper anyway? He wasn't a dog. Unknowingly to Naruto, Tsuna was blushing at the comment. Hentai. Well, I'm sorry for saying that, but you didn't have your uniform a second there. And stop calling me hentai, you little brat. So I like a girl with big melons. I'm not gay, and I didn't mean to walk in on you in the shower that one time. It was just an accident. I'm not a pervert or gay. Whack. Stop that. Naruto could feel his eye twitch at that last hit, staring at Tsuna's empty hands where she was surprised at the chibi next to her. Wait, what other chibi? Staring at dark charcoal eyes, a fedora hat and a chameleon on the brim of the hat. The brat WHO shot Tsuna-chan earlier. Naruto yelled, almost busting the two's eardrums. Stupid deity. Said the brat, as he smacked Naruto with the rolled-up newspaper once more. Inverse bullet. 4 minutes later, inverse bullet. So, you're saying that you're the 10th generation of a mafia family called Vongola? Tsuna nodded. And that little brat that's sitting on your shoulder is your tutor to become the Decimo Vongola? Tsuna looked at the baby reborn as he seemed amused at the look Naruto gave while he sat on the girl's shoulder. Well, yeah. Well, this is very unacceptable. Maybe I can revive one of those other candidates. Naruto thought out loud. Tsuna started to sweat. Staring at the little chibi, she began to shake her head. No, don't even try that one, yelled the brunette as she grabbed the little blonde by his small shoulders and began shaking him. That one? Is the Sky Beast able to revive human life? Questioned Reborn as both Tsuna and Naruto saw the evil gleam in his eyes. Yes, but it was only used once by me. It actually was a forbidden jutsu that the ex-teammate of an old sensei of mine learned. I had only seen it with my very own eyes twice before, and I only preformed it only once. Only people with great chakra control can do it, but there is an equivalent exchange for bringing back at least one life. Naruto said, all too serious that it caused Suna to cry comically at the memory of learning that jutsu through her own sensei's eyes and made Reborn only even more interested. And what is that? The sacrifice of another life. Naruto answered simply, easily getting out of the hold Suna had him in and stride off towards the school entrance. But, there is many ways besides that jutsu. Laws of alchemy for example, but I'm sure you have never heard of that. After all, these laws do not belong in this dimension. Suna stared in shock at the information. She knew Naruto wasn't exactly from this world, but she didn't think. Ah, Suna-chan. Aren't you late for class? Hibari's going to bite you to death. The chibi questioned with a toothy smile. With that, all color disappeared from Suna's face. Shit. She cursed, and like the ninja trainee she disappeared like she was never even there. Ah, my little girl is growing up so fast, said the blonde chibi dramatically as he wiped away a non-existent tear away from the corner of his eye. But with an annoyed sigh and staring at the roll-up newspaper that was left lying on the ground, he said, but that disrespectfulness towards her superior just has to go. Kicking a few pebbles childishly as he used a kunai to trace wriggly lines and twirling circles. Blinking. This reminded Naruto of something. Something that has black hair and dark eyes. Hey, what happened to that poor idiot? Looking around, Naruto didn't see anyone, not even that pile of heap that used to be a body. Not even that chibi. But there was a note left in the black-haired chibi's wake. Slowly picking the note up, he unfolded it and read the contents of the note. Skybeast, you should prepare yourself or else, for there will be someone that transfers here soon to fight your successor, Tsunahime Sawada. Hope we get along finely. Reborn, he could feel his blood boiling, thousands of veins ready to pop. There is one thing no living thing should do, and that is to never piss of a deity. We won't get along finely, you stupid brat. As the plane skidded to a stop, the door immediately opened and smoke emitted from it. A gray-haired teenager soon walked out with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. Dynamite was seen in his hands as he tucked them back in his pockets and continued to smoke his cigarette. Just wait, you bitch, I'll make sure you won't become the 10th. He began to walk off, not caring for the others that were still hacking and coughing from the unexpected explosion. Not as long as Gokudera Hayato continues to breathe. And by a stroke of karma a picture flew by. At the sight of the person in that picture, the gray-haired man groaned in pain as he clutched to his stomach. Sister, he moaned out before collapsing to the ground with a real bad stomachache. Wow. Karma is a bitch. The end. Thanks for watching. Also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.